the Bill Gates living in reality. Not the naive dweeb shaded by 3 pies. The Bill Gates that my attorneys are paid well to hide. I know I'm supposed to blow these out and make some sort of wish, but I just can't resist basking in that glow. I have so many wonderful things in my life. I have my children. I have my wife. These things exist, and they are real. My wife was perfect. She was real. She's leaving me. I'm not sure I'll survive, but I'll tell you this. I sure will try. After all, one day she'll see, like all of you. You all will see. You cannot leave. Not if you tried. There is no exit. This world is mine. You cannot leave. It can't be done. So stop resisting. It isn't fun. You've done your best. Now settle down. It's my turn. I won't let you down. You'll learn to love it. I swear it's true. After all, I made this for you.
Wow, poor old Billy Boy's really not doing that well. Welcome back, extra beautiful, extra amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org. We just got some bombshell information and news surrounding Bill Gates' divorce that deserves a lot of attention, since the implications here are absolutely massive. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more absolutely obscure information that you most likely won't be able to find anywhere else. But before we do that, plus a lot more, that clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is by a YouTuber called Post America. She only has 9,000 subscribers. I think she does very creative, artistic work. The link to her channel is, of course, down below, and I think she does pretty great work. Now, as most people in our mainline society are following the science that Bill Gates proposes, sponsors, gets rich off, we have to understand that very important policies are shaped by individuals like this and individuals like Dr. Fauci that has some very questionable funding of a laboratory inside of China that ended in 2019 that U.S. diplomatic cables warned could have severe ramifications for the world. I'm sorry, I get ahead of myself here. But we have to understand, a lot of very important policies have been set by individuals like Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci that have been unquestionably followed by, of course, the mainstream media and many government officials that have instituted them. The Vatican is also holding a conference in just a few days from now with Dr. Fauci, Pope Francis, and Aerosmith, along with the CEOs of Big Pharma. And as a lot of these policies go unquestioned, we are seeing the full ramifications and effects for them, like we're seeing in Canada, a country that is, of course, under lockdown, where a SWAT team literally came in and arrested a Canadian pastor who was known for making a viral video kicking out police officers from his church when he was practicing his religion on Easter Sunday, which of course embarrassed the Canadian authorities, who had to leave the church after, of course, being told loudly to leave by this Polish Canadian pastor, who just as of moments ago had his car swarmed by other police cars as he drove home from church. They ordered him out of his car, made him kneel down on a busy highway, and took him into custody for not following the decrees of the Canadian government. Now, Arthur Pawlowski is raising funds for his legal defense as he is facing charges for holding religious services. This is going to be a very important Canadian court case that will try to uphold religious protections and challenge the state's authority to try to squash and end religious gathering. Similar court cases that unfolded in New York State ruled in favor of the religious group and against absolutely horrible and destructive monsters like the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, who of course lost a major Supreme Court case in this particular similar situation. How this case will develop, we of course will be following closely, and as police officers all around the country are enforcing the most ridiculous lockdowns and restrictions on average day human activities, crime at the same time is skyrocketing, and of course major cities like New York City, where shootings, assaults on women are drastically going up. Also in the news, it just came out that China is now emitting more greenhouse gases than the rest of the developed world combined. Yes, this is not a joke here. China's emissions have more than tripled over the last 3 decades. And with this news, oddly, there's a lot of silence from people like Al Gore, Greta Thunberg, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and of course Bill Gates that keep talking about the dangers of greenhouse gases. And with such shocking news, you would think there would be at least a tweet. There hasn't been. And of course, China is emitting a lot of greenhouse gases as, of course, it's expanding its military and even threatening U.S. allies. All of this is happening as, of course, the Central Intelligence Agency is focusing on internal issues, pushing woke politics. I'm not kidding you. They released another absolutely egotistical, cringe-worthy woke video highlighting, again, superficial, artificial differences in human beings as if it's some kind of merit. Now, as the same people who tell you to trust the science that are now lecturing you about how today is birthing day and not actually Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. We still are here as an independent media organization somehow. One of the ways that, of course, we still do it is through our t-shirt store, thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We got more than shirts. We got hats, socks, bathing suits. The shirt that I'm wearing right now that just came out, you can have it exclusively only on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We started it after getting demonetized. It's been one of the main ways we've been able to sustain and keep this organization up and running. And I can't thank you guys enough for checking out our very entertaining and funny store, which you will have a lot of fun just scrolling through. Also, by the way, I am not doing a Luke Uncensored video today. I'm doing more research for a more extensive and comprehensive video tomorrow that will be out specifically only on LukeUncensored.com. Now, just a few days ago, we released a very important video highlighting a lot of the different possibilities behind the latest news surrounding Bill Gates and his divorce. Now, we got a lot of new interesting details that are definitely worth following up on and looking into, since, of course, there's a lot of implications surrounding this major news. Now, today we're finding out that allegedly Bill and Melinda Gates waited until their youngest daughter turned 18 before announcing this divorce, which potentially signals that there were problems for a long time in this 27-year marriage. Other news suggests this is that also from an interview in 1997, it was revealed that Bill Gates got to spend one weekend a year with his ex-girlfriend under a specific agreement with his wife. Yeah, it looks like Bill Gates was polyamorous and not monogamous. This definitely shows us that there were many arrangements made by Bill and Melinda that is important to consider here, since, of course, there's still no specific details about what actually triggered this divorce, but we are getting some information, especially from the Daily Beast, that just reported this bombshell headline that Melinda Gates was warning Bill Gates to end his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Gates, of course, refused. Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein have done business together and worked on projects together. They have conducted many secretive meetings, many of which that we don't even know of, that Bill Gates has never answered for or even gave a comment about. And again, this is from the Daily Beast, who, again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but their reporting on the Jeffrey Epstein saga has been absolutely impervious and incredible. They did a way better job than the vast majority of the U.S. mainstream media, and they actually talked about very important details that many media organizations refused or covered up. As we learned from Project Veritas, that ABC News even specifically made sure that an interview with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein would not make it to air. Jeffrey Epstein, again, an international trafficker and abuser of children who was able to get away with his horrible crimes for over 30 years with the government's mainstream media, legal court system, Silicon Valley, all either directly supporting it or looking the other way. Tech Silicon Valley individuals like, of course, Bill Gates, whose family and business relations also tie in to the larger study of eugenics, which Jeffrey Epstein was not only fascinated about, but actively participating in scientific projects with, as of course he previously tried to seed the human race with his DNA. I'm not kidding you. Now we could only imagine what kind of insane, crazy population control eugenics ideas that were shared by Jeffrey Epstein, who's of course a huge proponent of them, with Bill Gates, who also has professional and family ties to these larger ideas and projects. Now again, we do not know, we cannot verify what actually happened between these individuals or even how many times they met. But according to some of the preliminary information that we have, there were a lot of meetings. Meetings that, of course, made Melinda Gates, Bill Gates' wife, absolutely furious and telling all of her friends that she wanted nothing to do with Epstein. Again, we have to understand that a lot of these meetings also took place when Epstein was a registered herder and abuser of children. The world knew that. Independent alternative media was screaming about it, as of course the mainstream media that gets promoted here on YouTube and by the other tech Silicon Valleys were protecting him, running PR puff pieces about him. VH1 even released a video talking about how amazing he was and great he was. Now, even though the Daily Beast, again, cites anonymous sources that they say are people familiar with this situation, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is all absolutely true, especially with the history of both of these men. Bill Gates is literally launching GMO mosquitoes and trying to block out the sun as he's heavily invested in medical procedures that are being promoted by the Vatican, Aerosmith, and Dr. Fauci. Now, the Daily Beast goes on and they talk about an unreported meeting that happened at Epstein's Upper East Side mansion on September 2013. This is where Melinda Gates said that she was very uncomfortable with this entire situation and that she wanted nothing to do with Epstein. Now, of course, Bill and Melinda Gates representatives are not answering back when they were asked for comments about this specific incident. And again, they have been absolutely mum about this entire saga that should be absolutely terrifying and worrying since, of course, the media establishment thinks that everything that Bill Gates says is absolute gospel. This is one of the world's richest human beings in existence of human history that is more and more setting up policies and businesses whose motives should be questioned and not adored. Now, as we know, allegedly the first meeting that happened between Epstein and Gates happened in 2011. That's the public information that we know of so far, but it could be true that the relationship went on far longer. This was all happening when, of course, Epstein was known for being a trafficker and person who hurt small children. Bill Gates' advisor was Epstein's executor of his will. Bill Gates took a ride on Epstein's private jets. Epstein even bragged publicly to some people that he was advising Bill Gates. In other instances, Epstein claimed that he was a tax consultant to Bill Gates. The New Yorker even reported how Bill Gates gave $2 million to a project because Jeffrey Epstein told him to do so. And of course, the two hired many of the same scientists to work on unbeknown, secretive, elusive projects that the world still does not know anything about. And there's still a lot of information that we don't know that sadly journalists and the mainstream media are choosing to absolutely ignore. Now, of course, we're going to be following this story very closely. There are reports that this divorce is not friendly. We're going to see where the chips land here, but there might be a possibility to find out a lot more from Melinda, who hopefully decides to do the right thing and speak out against some of the horrible, atrocious activities that are done by these men in secret and in many times obfuscated by governments and the mainstream media. There is a lot of craziness, insanity, and injustice in this world right now, and we have to understand with all the money in the world that Bill Gates has, he of course has hired a lot of PR media specialists for this specific occasion, which will be doing everything in its power to prevent videos like this and other related videos from getting out there to the general public. Again, he has the best public relations specialists in the game right now, actively trying to censor this information from the general public. Hell knows no fury than an angry mom. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. So there might be a chance that we could actually get some truth here, which I hope we do. Now, Melinda rented an entire island for $132,000 a night to stay away from the media right now. She invited everyone in the family to come to this private island, everyone except for Bill Gates. There's still some unresolved issues surrounding this divorce, which was planned months ago. And Melinda still decided not to resolve these problems, according to TMZ. So it definitely looks like that this is not a friendly divorce. Also, there's a lot of other interesting cases surrounding this topic that we're going to be getting into tomorrow. Again, lots of censorship. A lot of Silicon Valley big tech executives who push woke politics have been working with individuals like Epstein. So, R.I.P. me. Yeah. But hey, at least I still got you guys actively getting this video out there to your friends, family members, strangers, random people that I assign to you to do every day of the week. Today, it's Mother's Day. Send this video to your Mother's Day so they could understand the larger psychological operations and propaganda efforts that are used against them. Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.